140% increase in new members reach, 129% increase in total impressions. These are the results for a senior partner of a staffing agency that we onboarded 1 month ago. I want to show you the strategy. I want to tell you the exact AI tools that we use. I want to show you the metrics that we track that are even more important than these metrics here. And I want to talk to you about influencer fatigue. Stay until the end. That might be the most important part. If you're new here, my name is Mike Mello, and I recently quit my staffing sales job to start an agency that helps staffing founders with LinkedIn content creation, lead generation, and AI automation. Let's talk about the strategy we came up with for our clients. Here's a good framework if you're trying to come up with your own strategy. What is the goal of your agency? Do you want to hire more salespeople and scale? Do you want to become more profitable and increase your EBITDA score? Do you want more project-based solutions type work? Is the goal to exit? Who's your exact ICP? And if you have multiple ICPs, can you only have 2? At most 3. Niche down if possible. What problems does your ICP have? How can you solve those problems in a unique way? This is what your content and your outbound automation should be structured. This is what we just did for our client and got those results. What we did, so we created content around the problems that our customers' ICP consistently has. We created outbound emails for those problems. We're not asking anything. We are sharing value with our clients' ICP. This to me is the most important part of the equation. It's engaging with other content on LinkedIn. If you want to actually build real relationships on LinkedIn, you need to give 10x more than you ask. Commenting, engaging, that is the best way to do it. Month 1 is all about visibility, increasing visibility for our client. What we want to avoid is asking. We're not asking for meetings. We're not asking for business. We're simply providing value in month 1, getting traction on our client's LinkedIn and building rapport with his or her ICPs. Here are the exact AI tools we use to help this client. You guys who follow me, you know we love Clay. We use Clay every single day. Clay is great for personalization. So if you're gonna send cold emails, you can pull information on what companies have recently received funding. You can pull information on what companies have specific jobs. You can pull information on what companies are going to receive funding. Clay is an excellent tool. It's $350 a month if you get the 10,000 credits if you're considering doing this strategy by yourself. Lemlist, we started off with this tool. We actually changed it out. Lemlist is an outbound automation tool. You will need LemWarm as well. If you're gonna do cold emails, you need to warm up the domain using LemWarm. We actually, just because good news, we have too many clients now. Good problem to have. We've recently moved over to Smartly to be able to support more clients. But if you're thinking about doing this by yourself, Lemlist is a fine solution. We use N8N. We also use Make. I like Make because it's easier. N8N is a wonderful automation tool. What we did for this client is we created an automation with Appify and N8N that scrapes jobs that our client would be able to fill. I don't advise you to just scrape jobs and send resumes and try to get business that way because it is not a long-term strategy. However, it is a good way to understand what companies are hiring for skill sets that you can fill jobs within, and it's a good starting place to understand who you should be talking to. Use GPT to help with research for LinkedIn posts as well as cleaning up ideas. We do not just use GPT to write LinkedIn posts. People will know. It's obvious if you do that. Try not to do that. Let's talk about metrics that are more important than impressions and total reach. Those are definitely important metrics and you want to measure them. And we're going to go over exactly what we did for our client last month. So 34,000, right? Just under 35,000 total impressions, which is great. 129% increase from the month prior. This client was posting, he was active, which is also something you want to measure and understand. If you take on a client, if we were to take on a client that wasn't posting before, we'd have 500,000-600,000 increase in total impressions. It's good when you can measure it against a client who's posting right now. So again, just under 35,000 total impressions, 11,538 members viewed, right? That's important because that's the total reach, right, of our posts and our comments. What could be more important than this? Profile views, right? This is, think of this as a staffing and recruiting sales funnel. So you're putting information out there. Is the information good enough where someone says, oh, that's valuable, let me look at this person's profile? Again, folks in staffing, I was in technology staffing, most of what I did was tech and creative, and I would want people who were going to buy my services to come to my page. So you want to understand and look at who's coming to your page, which leads me to in my opinion, the most important metric there is. Who is viewing your post? When you post on LinkedIn, as long as you have LinkedIn Premium, you'll be able to scroll down and see what companies, what level. The most important metric you want to measure is the industry that the people are looking in your posts are from. So if you support finance, if you place CFOs and accountants and controllers, you want finance folks, accountants, right, coming to your page. If you support tech, right, so on and so forth, healthcare, so on and so forth. Several of the posts that we did for our client last month doubled in the industry that we want his views to come from. So what are we gonna do in month 2? We're gonna double down on those posts. And again, this is content that is specifically talking to his ICP. That's why we're able to double the views from folks in that industry. You want to measure that. Again, if you're gonna do this yourself, that, in my opinion, is the most important metric to measure. What is influencer fatigue and how to avoid it? Guys, keep in mind, there's so much content out there that everybody's producing and sending and sharing. People viewing content are getting tired, and I think the direction of what people think of the influencer is becoming more and more negative. The way you can avoid that is if your content is centered around your customer. And this is super important. If you sit down for an hour and you talk about all the problems that you solve, the wins that you've had, information that your customer would like to hear, that will help them make a decision on if your services are right for them. If you're the person that can solve their problems, that is how to avoid your audience feeling influencer fatigue. Your content is for your customer, okay? So when you're creating content, remember that, think about that. If you're talking about the market that you serve, the problems that you solve, the wins that you've had, the projects you're supporting, the things you're seeing in the market, and it could benefit your customer, it is not only on you to produce that content, it really is your obligation, because it's getting harder and harder to sell staffing and harder to sell projects. The more information you can give your customer about if you are the right fit for them, you are servicing them. You're servicing them before you have even met with them, right? So if they come to your page and they see that you solve these specific problems that they have, and then you reach out to them, the probability that they take a meeting with you goes through the roof, because you've already supported them in a certain way. If you give valuable information out and your ICP uses that information, whatever it might be, they will forever associate you with the value you provided them. So keep that in mind. The content that you post is for your end customer. What we did with the customer that we're speaking specifically about the results, and what we do for all of our customers, is we sit down and we create the content with them. We guide them, we help them, we push them in a certain direction to talk about the problems they solve for their customer. This strategy works best for a founder who may be camera shy. So just keep that in mind, right? Your content is for your end customer. Guys, if you found this video helpful, shoot me a follow on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a message if you have any questions. If you think there's anyone in your network that could benefit from this video, please share it with them. Be great.